When you are first building awareness of your body and sexual trauma triggers, you may notice that it takes time to learn all over again what you really like and don't like. You may realize you allow things or do things that you don't actually feel comfortable with, but you've numbed out your feelings. That can look like zoning out during sex or worrying about pleasing your partner more than honoring your own desires. It can also look like not knowing how to find intimacy without the physical aspect. I've done every single one of these, and the ability to communicate triggers is dependent on awareness and being confident in your self worth. Once you decide, I'm ready to sit with this trigger and get curious, that's you making a brave declaration that you're valuable. So, this video is going to build upon practical strategies for voicing your value as you increase awareness around triggers. First, I want to share the journey of what building awareness realistically looks like by sharing my journey with you. So, there are about 6 steps that I found in awareness building, especially around triggers in sexual trauma. So, first, I would panic after a trigger showed up and sit in anxiety and uncertainty for days. Step 2, I would panic right after and talk about my uncertainty, but never have answers. And that felt frustrating. In the third stage, in the moment, I would notice discomfort and either panic so we'd stop or push my way through and ignore indicators, one of the two. In the fourth stage of awareness building, eventually I could reflect on where a trigger may have come from and recognize the similar touch to that experience and name it. Now, in stage 5, I can notice a trigger and make a decision in the moment. Do I need to stop or can I keep going? Or do I just need to pause or move positions? This is not a perfect stage. Perfection is not expected in this stage, but to just take a guess of what you might need in the moment. And then stage 6, here is the hope. Such trust has been built through communication and a willingness to adjust for my comfort, which is really just consent, that some of my triggers don't get pressed on anymore, or they've simply been dulled. So it is possible. And your awareness grows for what you do like. Sex feels safer, pleasurable, and more intimate in this stage. So, how do you know when you should voice a trigger? Well, you can do it in the moment or afterwards. The key here is that you are communicating and not moving on without saying what came up for you. You're not letting days and days and days go by or never bringing it up at all. My partner always says, I wish she would have just told me in the moment instead of waiting. But honestly, sometimes in the moment just feels too vulnerable. So this is inserting the intimacy booster and crucial support piece that you're looking for. I started by saying something after the trigger occurred as I was building up vulnerability. However, in the moment honors yourself and your body the most. A really easy way to cue this reminder in the moment is an acronym ACT. It's telling you what to do. Act now. And it stands for acknowledge uncomfortability, even if you can't name why. Communicate discomfort. And then T, take a moment to breathe. Give your brain a moment to pause. I'll note that the bottom two, C and T, they're interchangeable. Sometimes you can communicate the discomfort before you take a breath. Sometimes you need a breath in order to communicate. But this acronym has been wildly helpful for me in the moment to just remember, okay, I got to at least acknowledge that I'm uncomfortable right now. So now to the how. In the linked PDF that you'll find in this session module, It's called Voicing Your Value. And inside of that, you'll find 10 practical strategies for de escalating triggers in the moment. So follow the instructions in the exercise. Communicating triggers can not only transform your feelings of safety during sex, but also bring you closer together and reshape your overall sex life. Because now the conversation is open to discuss desires, to discuss triggers, to discuss sexuality. Some of these strategies also assume that trust is solid with your partner around intimacy. So if it's not, there is a resource coming up for you. I'll leave you with just a few things to keep in mind from this session around trigger awareness and moving through. Your triggers don't need an explanation. They don't. You don't have to know where they come from. You don't have to know why it showed up this time and not last time. Sometimes you won't know why you're uncomfortable. It's just a feeling. Communicate it anyway. It matters. Sometimes people can take a trigger personally, but the focus is on what you want to tell them, not about how they feel when you tell them you need something else. And lastly, a human being, cannot heal you. You're asking them to share the burden with support while you do brave work. You can find the ACT acronym and 10 practical strategies for de-escalation linked with some prompts below. But start caring about what you like and what feels good for you. Then communicate that. Your voice matters.